I've got a stock that's really making me angry. I mean, it's really, really pissing me off. I'm going to explain to you what's going on with this stock and why I'm really skeptical about Chinese IPOs from this point forward. I'm going to break it down for you. Get comfortable, hit the thumbs up button. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor on the Black Financial Channel. We talk about black economics, black wealth, and all kinds of financial issues every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day. Under one condition, you must understand that we are black first. Black first means hashtag B1. That means that we put our community at the top of our priority list. It also means that we believe black people can be number one in the world when it comes to economic intelligence and financial literacy within the next 50 years. B1 also means that we understand we must be one to be successful. So if you agree with that philosophy, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. Hashtag B and the number one. First of all, I want to say hello to Courtney and Nathaniel. And Tequila says you're hemorrhaging in the market. Well, Tequila, what you might want to do is you might want to take a look at the stocks you own. If you're not well diversified and you have a lot of risky assets, you could have taken a hit this week, particularly given that there are some factors that are hurting high growth stocks. Some of the high growth companies that don't make a lot that make a decent amount of revenue but don't have profitability yet. Some of these companies got hit pretty hard this past week. So you want to be really careful because overall the market's doing really well. Overall the market has been extraordinary. So you may want to look into things like S&P 500 index funds, with like the S&P 500 Spider SPY, things that are going to help you be more diversified. You don't want to get caught up in just meme stocks and extreme crypto and really risky stuff, because that risky stuff it can shoot your money up but can also shoot your money down. So you make sure you spread your money out. Just be a little bit careful. So let me tell you guys what I'm thinking about today. I'm really mad because I invested in this IPO that came out of China, a company called Didi Cha-ching. That's how I pronounce it. Maybe it's pronounced a different way, but I pronounce it as Didi Cha-ching. So Didi does an IPO. They're out of China. They're basically the Uber of China. So Didi does this IPO. They raise billions of dollars in the U.S. markets. It's a great IPO. Didi is in control of, I think, about 90% of the ride-hailing market in China. And they don't just pick people up and give them rides like Uber does. They actually, because remember in China, they ran Uber out of town. They ran Uber out. But they don't just pick up people the way Uber does. They actually do a lot of really interesting things. Like if you go to a bar and you get drunk and you have your car and you need a driver, they'll send a driver to come drive your car and drive you home. Or I think I saw something where they were delivering a bike to somebody, like just all these crazy things, and also food delivery and all that stuff. Well, Diddy's a great company. They got a lot of good data, a lot of good customers, and it's just only a matter of time before they become insanely profitable, in my view. And I believe they're also well positioned to expand throughout the world. So what's the problem? Well, I thought Diddy was a great purchase in an IPO. I don't normally get excited about IPOs, but this case, I made an exception because the company appears to be very strong. But that was before the Chinese government jumped in. The Chinese government, for some reason, they just decide on a regular basis to jump in and try to prove to these tech companies who's boss. They love to investigate tech companies and literally stop their flow. They're kind of the economic version of a cock blocker, right? You remember, like people would make jokes back in the day, like "Don't be cock blocking, man," right? Like that's kind of what the Chinese government does. Like they literally jump in and disrupt whatever these companies are doing. They did it to Alibaba. They did it to another large company in China. They've done it to Jack Ma, the richest man in China, disrupted what he was working on. They've done it to some of the banks. And now Diddy, they just shut down the whole app. They literally, first they told Diddy, you can't have any new subscribers on your app. Now imagine somebody shutting down Uber where you can't have any new signups for Uber. And then imagine them doing the next step, which was they actually told the app stores that they can't even offer the app. So people can't even download the app and new people can't sign up on the app. And so they literally have frozen the company's ability to grow. They totally killed their growth while they're investing, while they're investigating to decide what they're doing with the data. This really, in my view, makes Chinese companies, a huge risk, because you've got this what they call political risk. You've got this huge amount of political risk now, where buying into Chinese companies is just kind of a touchy thing. There's another company that I really like that was doing really well, and it's called Tekadu. Tekadu. I was selling the options, selling covered calls on Tekadu, making a killing. It was doing really well, and then all of a sudden, the Chinese government decides they want to strenuously regulate the Chinese education market. So because they're now regulating the digital education market, Tekadu stock plummets out of the blue. And a lot of this is artificial. I don't really trust the way business is done in China. I don't trust the government's involvement. I think it's a little bit sloppy. I think eventually it's going to come to a head. It's going to cause problems. I understand why they are paranoid of the growth of tech firms, because they don't want to be like the United States. In the United States, your tech companies have more power than your government. When they saw that Facebook, and Twitter, and Instagram, and Google, and all got together and decided to shut down the president of the United States, that made the Chinese government very nervous. I'm sure. I'm sure they watched that and said, "Oh, you ain't gonna do that over here." So I kind of get that to some extent, but it's really disruptive for business, really disruptive. And so I'm gonna go ahead and say that in terms of my own investing journey, I'm really skeptical of Chinese companies now, because investing in a company is like starting a relationship with a pretty girl. You start a relationship when you go into business with people. It's just like dating them. So the Chinese government is like, it's like dating somebody where you don't know if their mother is going to get all up in your relationship and be all up in your business and disrupting the relationship and causing all kinds of problems. So the Chinese government is like that overbearing mother who dives in and interferes with the relationship and causes all kinds of chaos. Sometimes you may say, you know what, I don't think I want to date that girl. So just so you know, I'm going to keep my investment in Diddy. I might even actually increase it, because I do like to buy the dips, and I do dollar cost averaging, and I see it as a long-term investment. I believe that once the investigation's over, I think that the cloud will disappear and the stock will go up. So I'm going to hold on to the stock. But some investigations like this are bogus. It reminds me of when XRP got investigated. I haven't ran away from my XRP. I haven't bought more. I haven't bought less. I'm just holding it because I believe the investigation will go away. But the problem is, in a way, it's a little bit like the Bill Cosby situation. A lot of people felt that from the very beginning that Cosby was done wrong. But when you get things caught up in court, it takes years to resolve things in court. Or when someone does an investigation, it takes years for the investigation to end, or years before the decisions are made that right the injustice. So with Cosby, how he spent 3 years, 2 3 years in prison before they realized, like, oh yeah, you're right, we did screw up, my bad, right? And I even wonder if they just sent him away just to make a point, like, we know it's going to get reversed, but we're going to make you do 2 or 3 years in prison as an 83-year-old man, just so you'll be uncomfortable, right? Well, the same thing is true with a lot of these investigations. The investigation against Ripple was bogus. XRP should never have been investigated by the SEC, but XRP, because the investigation makes you toxic, suddenly the price plummets. You can't trade it on the market, so they killed the liquidity. Liquidity has value, so when you take away the liquidity of an asset, you're killing its value. So a lot of times, an accusation alone, and this goes back, the black men, holla if you hear me, you know what I'm talking about. Accusations alone can be as bad as a conviction, just being accused of things. So right now Diddy is being accused of improper use of data, or whatever, which is gonna already cost him probably a couple $1 billion. It's gonna cost him a lot more by the time it's done. Same thing is true with XRP. Same thing is true with Tekadu. Same thing is true with a lot of these companies that are under investigation. So I'm not telling you what to do, but I personally am going to be really skeptical of Chinese IPOs. I'm not really going to mess with them because I don't know what the Chinese government's going to do. One good thing about the United States is that the government doesn't really interfere very much with companies and their ability to do business. So Diddy, I'm glad I invested to some extent, but I kind of wish I'd used my money on something else. What do I know about NIO? I like NIO. I have a lot of NIO stock, but I like to sell the cover calls. I'm not really sure exactly when they're going to become profitable, because nobody knows who's going to win the electric car race. It's going to be real interesting. It's going to change a lot over time. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. And don't forget, Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, we meet for stock market class. You can join us at the blackstockmarketprogram.com. The first month is free. And also, you guys may or may not know, we're actually doing kind of a book club sort of thing, where we're going to go through Dr. Claude Anderson's books as well as other books once a week on Wednesday nights at 8:30. in a program called Black Keys to Greatness. Black Keys to Greatness is totally free now. We the price was $1,000 for a lifetime membership. We're giving it away totally free. So if you're interested in Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, books like that, every week I will go through a section of the book and we're going to do kind of a book club thing. So feel free to go join us at blackkeystogreatness.com. It's totally free. All right, guys. So I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Love you. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. See you later. Peace.